the moment our fellow geeks, weebs, nerds, and other unfortunates have been fervently waiting for has finally arrived. It's time for TMI, Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerf Herder Chandler, Jim Kaiju Baker, and Mike Mjolnir Evans. And now, let's get on with the show. Here is TMI.
3, 2, 1, we're in.
All right, we're in.
Hey, everybody, we're back. This is it. Brand new episode this week, and we have ourselves a special guest, a very special guest, Jack Hammer.
Thank you.
From the Electric Radio Show.
So I will say, Jack, you and I have been friends for a while, but it is a truly a great honor to have you on our little humble show here. And
I'm honored to be on. I mean, you've been on my show a couple of times.
I have
actually. Jeff hosted. You were the master of ceremonies of Star Wars trivia that took place between me and Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1.
Now, was Jake Lloyd live in the studio with you guys?
He was live via Skype,
Okay.
and Jeff was live in the studio, shaking. You were trembling a little, Jeff. I think
that was very unnerving for me, to be honest with you.
But and actually, Jake and I both stunk. I mean, we were terrible.
I don't know if it was my questions. I thought I had good questions. I should have brought them up. I should have.
Yeah, Jeff would ask questions like, "What is the cargo capacity of the Millennium?"
No, I wasn't that nerdish.
During the Kessel Run,
I did ask what was the first line of dialogue spoken in Star Wars: A New Hope, and who said it.
Yeah, I still don't remember.
Jack still doesn't know.
It's early, man. It's early.
How about that one all-important question, Jake? What are you up to these days?
He had a lot to say about what he was up to.
That was, yeah.
Was it a lot, really? Yeah.
We're not going to go there.
Yeah, you should dig it. I'm sure it's on your... So let's talk about your show a little bit. Because, I mean, this thing is a juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut, yes!
The Electric Radio Show is something actually started in 2007 with the Electric Morning Show. And I originally had named it the Electric Radio Show, but, you know, the powers that be said, well, it's in the morning. Let's just call it the Electric Morning Show. I said, I don't care, man. I just want to be on the air. That's fine.
Right.
But fast forward to 2014, I took control of the show and I reassembled the original cast, and we started on 2 signals in Pocono, Pennsylvania, and we were broadcasting out of Port Jervis, New York. It was crazy because we decided that we were going to self-syndicate the show, and before we knew it, we had like 5 affiliates and we were ecstatic. And now we just finished working with Auckland, New Zealand, and they're going to be like we're almost at 70 now, and we're in now 7 countries.
So you're talking 70 markets. Is that what you're...
Yeah, you
70
can
shows, 70 different
70
shows.
markets, 7 countries. Yeah, we really don't discriminate. We take anybody that wants to carry the show, we'll take them. It doesn't matter the size of the market. Listeners are listeners, and people that are digging the show, man, we want them to be able to hear it.
Awesome. Well, we're hoping that our listeners will go and check you out and grow your reach larger.
I'm hoping that I will send you guys, boatloads of people, airplane loads.
Yeah, can you send those boats to Mike's house though? I don't know how many I can fit.
Yeah, Mike's looking a little reserved this morning, man.
I have some technical difficulties over here.
Okay, technical difficulties.
Yeah, Mike has mic issues. It's
Mike has mic issues.
We've kind of pinpointed what the issue is with his, because whenever Mike speaks, it's kind of muted. So I think Mike except for certain instances, he's going to be our silent partner this week.
He's going to give us a thumbs up.
That's correct.
All right. So at this point, let's get into it. We
Yeah, let's get into
start
it,
hitting
please.
some news items, and we'll go from there. If anybody does not know, I know we talked about this last week. We will be talking about two of Jack's favorite movies.
Yes.
Return of the Jedi.
I love it. It's my favorite.
Groundhog Day.
This goes
But
nicely.
we missed it by a week.
We did miss it by a week, Groundhog Day, but Return of the Jedi goes nicely in our series of 5 bucket list films. We covered Star Wars only 4 weeks ago. We covered Empire like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And now the natural progression, we're hitting Return of the Jedi this episode.
I think we did vow to never talk about the prequels, though.
Why?
I
Why
don't know.
is that? Why is that?
Oh, we need you back then. If we talk prequels, you have to come back.
Listen, episode
Look,
episode 3, I still am a great fan of that one, Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. All right. I agree. I'm not poo-pooing it by any means, but
I really love
it does have its
all of them.
detractors.
I'm trying to warm up to the newer ones. That's my thing.
The third trilogy.
You see,
out
so
now.
am I. Yeah, everybody's kind of lauding that, but I'm not totally on board with those.
I agree with you, even though I did get to spend time with Spencer Wilding, who plays Darth Vader in those movies.
Really?
And he has that great scene in Rogue One.
And yeah, and I got to spend time with Ray Park, who played Darth Maul.
Yep.
And actually, Ray and I have become pretty good acquaintances. And I love all these movies, man. I just think the Star Wars, the legacy of that movie series brings to young and old alike, man. It's timeless.
It's true. It's true to watch a little kid watch even episode 1 just because of the Anakin connection that they've gotten there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing I will say about those prequels, which is, us as adults growing up with Star Wars, the original trilogy. When those prequels came out, a lot of detractors were like, "Oh, this is like kiddie stuff." It's like, but that's because it's not aimed at you. Star Wars was aimed at us because we were that age group. We were 8 to 12 or whatever. Exactly. And now, 20 years later, he's going down that same road, but it doesn't resonate with us. But I will tell you, I've got a 16-year-old son, and his kids, his friends all came to my studio, and I got toys galore. And they were just like, "Oh, who's that guy?" And I'm like, "Who's that guy? It's Han Solo." And they were like, "Oh, I like Obi-Wan." I'm like, "Get out of here."
Yeah. But
So it does. It hit the market.
You could always do, if you want to do like prequels. This is just an idea. You can always do like a prequel. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and then also do Big Fish. So
there you go. There we go.
Now, Jack, let me ask you, since you brought up Ray Park, is that Ray Park at the end of Solo doing his Darth Maul?
Here's the thing, is I got a very cryptic message from Ray Park, and with his head completely shaved, and it was just a really, he had a very stoic look in the picture, and it was like, guess where I am? And I'm like, dude, if you're Darth Mauling it again, man, I gotta know. And
he mauled it.
Like he didn't reply. So, it was really, I think he knew that I knew what he was doing, man. So I think it was he uncredited in that?
I don't remember if he was uncredited, but that is him. That's Ray Park. But he's never done the voice of Darth Maul, even back in the prequels. And the voice that was used in Solo is the same actor who does the Darth Maul's voice in the Clone Wars.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Rebels. I'm sorry, it was Rebels. So Rebels, which is an animated cartoon on Disney XD, I think, that's all canon. So when Darth Maul suddenly shows up at the end of Solo, spoiler alert, there's a whole story as to where he was and how he got there. But if you only watch the movies, you were like, what? Last time we saw him, he was cut in half and falling down the shaft.
Yeah, 2 pieces.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So there you go. So it was him who played the role.
Yeah, I
would assume. I'm hoping. You know what? Did you see Solo? You saw Solo?
No, I did not.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
I don't think
everybody says that.
I don't believe. I think what happened was the detractors. There's such a negativity in the Star Wars fan universe right now. It's crazy, and I think a lot of it was just so divisive of The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was just, you live with these characters for so long, and then all of a sudden they come out and you get these different, writers and these different directors, and they take these characters in directions that we would never choose.
Yeah.
Even Mark Hamill had issues with what they did with Luke Skywalker. And people were so incensed with it that I think that they just lashed out, and Solo came out right after that, and they were like, well, just out of principle, we're never going to watch this.
Yeah.
So,
I think to do that, I think it's a little closed-minded.
Oh, absolutely. Very
closed-minded. Off to something and not be open-minded enough to try something new. And it was a little difficult for me to watch the newer films, but I did get into them and I did enjoy them for what they were. I'm not sitting there thinking, all right, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, as I'm watching The Last Jedi. You have to be open-minded enough to accept the new creativity.
For one, I really like the standalone movies. I think better than the two J.J. Abrams, the Rogue One and then Solo after that. I think, Jack, if you haven't seen Solo, you really should, because it is really good.
I'm used to going solo.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into news a little bit. And we're actually going to follow right back up with Star Wars Episode 9 in the news as well. So let's go.
So what do you got?
First of all, we have to a little addendum to last week's news, which is we had all kinds of speculation about this Big Lebowski 2. Jack, I don't know if you're familiar, right before the Super Bowl, there was this video that went viral of Jeff Bridges in his full dude outfit, just kind of walking by the camera, giving a little wink and moving on. And so we were speculating that the Big Lebowski 2 was in production.
Yes, we were losing our minds last week thinking, it's a new movie. It's a new movie.
Yeah.
And then you watch the Super Bowl and no.
So, it was a lead up to a Super Bowl ad, a beer Super Bowl ad. And we're not even going to tell what beer it is, because unless they want to be a sponsor, I'm not going to promote them.
Amen. Never give them a freebie.
Nope. So basically it was the dude and Sarah Jessica Parker's character from
Sex and the
City, Carrie Bradshaw, both walking into a bar, and as opposed to ordering their signature drinks, they order a beer. And that, so that was a huge letdown.
See, you want to make it interesting, it should have been Carrie Bradshaw and Terry Bradshaw. Right?
What's his drink of choice, though?
Or Bradshaw, the wrestler from WWF.
That's it. We got a whole campaign going now.
Yeah, man. Right now they're stealing our ideas, and they're going to make tens of millions of dollars, and we get caught.
That's exactly what happens. So.
Yeah, it took me a good 3 to 4 or 5 seconds to tie that together to what we were talking about on the podcast, and the disappointment that set in after I realized.
I was
this is what he was dressed as the dude for. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it was a beer ad. So, The Walking Dead. Anybody still watching this show?
I am. I'm a fan.
Are you caught up?
I'm not caught up, no, but I am a fan since episode 1.
Well, we've been a fan since episode 1, and we reviewed the episode where
Andrew Lincoln
departed, and I've not watched since.
Wow.
There's only been 1 episode since, so.
What? No, it's got to be more than that. Not by much, though. I know they're on my DVR, so eventually I'll get to them.
That's the way I'm doing it.
Yeah. So, well, I guess it's been renewed for another season, but we have yet another character who's not coming back.
Can I take a guess at it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's going to be Maggie, Lauren Cohen.
We already knew that Maggie's out because she's doing that ABC.
Yes, Jack is correct about that. And this is another
character, a main character.
It's got to be Carol.
No, we're actually talking about Michonne.
Oh, she's
Janae Guerrero.
She's going to go find Rick, and they're going to start a colony.
I thought she was going to Wakanda, but maybe. Yeah, because do you know the whole story about Andrew Lincoln leaving this show?
No, I don't, man. All I know is that people... I don't want to
ruin it for you because
it's all right, man. Ruin away, man. Ruin away.
Well, no, because AMC hyped this up that he was leaving the show.
Yeah.
And so it was Rick's last 2 episodes, Rick's last episode. So we devoted an entire episode of this show to talk about it. And during the broadcast, it came to light, and I guess I was the only one who was not aware of this, that not only does he survive, but he's going off and they're making like standalone Rick movies.
Yeah.
AMC.
Yeah.
And I'm just like that. So it was
it gave every indication that Rick was going to die without actually coming out and saying that Rick was going to die. But no, turns out now he's going off into his own story. The other characters think he's dead because now he's out of the main storyline. but he's
and
with
they've
this other
time jumped like
subset of
6
characters.
years.
Yeah.
There's a time jump. So all this time,
he's 6-year time jump.
Yeah, because now you have little kick-ass. What's her name? Judith is like a little prepubescent 13-year-old.
Oh, maybe that's why Rick left, because of Judith.
Maybe.
Oh, Judith, you're a little pain in the ass now.
She's no longer kick-ass. She's pain in the ass.
Yeah, maybe Rick left to go in search of the AARP office. So, maybe that's it. He's looking for some benefits.
Yeah, that's where the key is to this whole zombie apocalypse is the
AARP. Yeah, Variety reported, and I think it was Deadline.com both reported new Walking Dead spinoff series. So,
is Fear the Walking Dead still on?
It is. I don't know how, but it is.
I heard it's better than the original show.
I don't know, man.
At this point, I think it is. I haven't watched it, but I gave up on that a long time ago. But apparently they've killed off all the original characters. It's got a whole new set. So I think they listened at least to all the detractors. They made some changes to it.
I think The Walking Dead is like saying, well, if Star Trek can do it with Voyager, Deep Space Nine,
I
Star
get
Trek
it.
Toilet paper, Star Trek, let's go to the asteroid. That
There you go.
And it doesn't necessarily work that way, because the fan base, I hear a lot of grumbling in the fan base of The Walking Dead that, they're just not feeling it anymore. So.
Well, there's a point where these shows outlive their. I mean, look at the X-Files. I mean, it was a moneymaker, but after 9 seasons, your 2 main characters walk away. You bring in replacements. It's never the same.
Yeah, true.
You got to just go out on high. And unfortunately, if they're money-making entities, the studio's not going to let them. I will say about Lost, they stepped in. They did the show the way they wanted to do it, and.
You don't want to get into the Cousin Arthur syndrome of the Brady Bunch.
That very good, Jay. I applaud that. That's very good. Cousin Arthur.
Whenever they bring in a baby, that's usually the kiss of death.
Yeah.
Mork and Mindy, season 3, they bring in Jonathan Winters. Mirth.
What was his name?
Mirth.
Yeah.
Mirth. There you go. So let's see. Here's another movie I don't know if we've been clamoring for, but it's going into production on March 5th. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
I'm dying for this movie.
We are getting a Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan return.
See, my wife thinks I'm an idiot, but I really do like Keanu Reeves. I really do. I like Keanu Reeves. And I thought he was great in the Matrix series. And, and I even liked him in Bram Stoker's Dracula. I liked him.
Oh, man, I haven't seen that in years.
It was right, but it was
and I love that movie. That is probably in my top 10 movies is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. And the fact that he just that accent, that quote unquote accent that he does, even that doesn't detract from my enjoyment of the movie. It kind of adds to it in a way.
Yo, dude, you want to suck my blood? What?
Winona Ryder in that?
Oh, yes, she is.
I gotta rewatch. But she's blonde though, right?
No.
Oh, she's not? No, Edward Scissorhands, she's blonde.
She's blonde in that, yeah.
Yeah. My son was sick this week, and he was binging Stranger Things, and my wife had to bring up the fact that I had a thing for the mom, because Winona Ryder plays it, and he's like, really? And I said, just go back 20 years. She was hot.
Yeah, go to hot Winona.
Yeah,
we got to watch Dracula one of these days.
All right, let's make it happen. Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, Bill and Ted's back on track. Was this the third movie? This is the third movie. Obviously, we don't have a George Carlson, so.
Yeah, George. Poor George. Well, they could bring him back. They did it with Tupac. I mean, they could bring him back holographic, right? And it would fit.
Yeah, who's George Carlson, Jeff? Is that some unknown B-movie actor?
No, that's
the new Rufus.
I like the fact that Jack just rolled with it.
Yeah, man.
I know who you're talking about.
Carlin. I added the S. The S is silent. Carlin.
George Carlson is the new Rufus.
There you go. Rufus. That's still one of my top 10 time travel movies. Top 5.
There's 10?
There might be. Yeah, I have a. And I've been pushing this as an episode too, Jack.
Where does Hot Tub Time Machine fall under that?
Under, but that's a good one. That is a good one. The only thing that he missed on that was having John Cusack run down the hill screaming at the kid to get his $2 back. That was a missed opportunity on the ski slopes.
You see, I never know what that movie is. What is that? Better Off Dead?
Better Off Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my $2. So there you go. Avengers Endgame. They're doing private screenings, focus groups. Russo brothers announced.
At that point already?
Well, it's coming out in May.
Oh wow, I didn't know that was May.
It drops right after Captain Marvel, who's coming out in March. So this is right behind it.
Wow, I thought that was May of 20.
We're right there. And this thing has a 3-hour runtime, much like this show.
Well,
they're talking about adding an intermission. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
Beat the mill. Come on.
So 3 hours. This will be the longest Marvel movie yet. But obviously, there's a lot of story to tell.
Yeah, I guess.
Are we in for an intermission? You want to take a break?
You're gonna need to, or
I think you're gonna have to, right?
Yeah, you're gonna need to pee in the popcorn bucket if you hang in that long.
I would like to see, what are they going to show during the intermission? Is it going to be like one of those old timey, where they actually just play the music while it says intermission, or are they going to have the "Let's all go to the movies"?
Just like this show.
Or like the people running from Godzilla, and they're all looking up. That's the people evacuating to the restrooms.
They'll probably create some creative content, and you'll be forced to sit through it anyways, and you'll never leave the theater.
Just when you thought you can go pee, you really can't.
Yeah, you
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember Waterworld almost killed me. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was on hold because of the whole James Gunn. Do you know about this, Jack?
Yeah, I've heard
James Gunn was. Yeah, okay. Well, and then there was a big backlash, and Disney said they weren't going to use his script, and blah blah blah. Well, now all of a sudden, I guess a couple months have gone by. He's got a new job. He's now working for DC. So this just kind of came under the radar, but they are going to use his script now.
Oh, really?
So very excited for that.
Yeah.
Another acquaintance of mine, good friend, Elizabeth Ludlow.
Oh, I thought you were going to say James Gunn.
No. Elizabeth Ludlow, who played a rot in The Walking Dead, was in Guardians 2. And she told me when they were filming, she said, I got a blip. I got a screen blip. I said, but it's Guardians, man. I said, who cares?
Right.
I said, it's great. Yeah, if they're going to end up using the script, I think it could be good. I think it could be really good. If they had to do a rewrite on that, I don't think it would have really. Me personally, I just don't think it would have really.
Yeah, no.
I agree.
It's going in one direction. They might as well keep it going.
Exactly.
Right. Well, Gunn, I mean, even when they showed up in Infinity War, Gunn directed and wrote all the dialogue for those characters. So these, for lack of a better, these are his characters.
Exactly.
And on the cinematic screen, at least.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. So we got that. And the only other thing, which we were already knee deep in Star Wars, which is December, episode 9 is coming out.
Of course.
And I guess there was a huge speculation that we were going to get a trailer during the Super Bowl, which we did not. But right now, there is no title.
Blue Harvest.
We'll get into see, you already.
It's Blue Harvest 2. Blue Harvest Part 2.
I like it. So I think Balance of the Force, which is bounding around, is just way too on the nose and a little too generic. I don't know.
The characters getting old. They're going to call it the Metamucil of the Force. Metamucil requires no force.
Return of the Walker. Right.
No, it should be Blue Harvest with the subtitle "Children of the Force" rather than "Children of the Corn."
Oh, Children of the Force.
So we'd have Malachi. The whole gang is going to be back.
Malachi, he wants you too, Malachi.
He who walks between the R2s?
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
This is great that I kind of fit into this. I'm getting like 98.2% of the references. I like that.
So, Jack, we used to have a gang of 5 doing the show, and the 2 that are no longer with us were in their mid to late 20s. They got nothing that we said. It was cricket.
We thought it was going to be brilliant because here we are, the 3 of us, like we're all around the same age, and now we got these 30-somethings, and so we could teach them. And one of the first episodes, we chose Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Obviously, a classic sci-fi
Phenomenal movie.
I do believe that David's quote was, "It was the worst 147 minutes of my life."
What?
They despised it. So that really set the tone. We were like, oh, maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Yeah. Every episode ended with me being angry. It was not.
That's like calling Jaws just a fish movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
We made them watch the first Alien, and we got
Yeah, no, you want some like right. Jim's talking about his experience, in the theater and the first time seeing this, and we got into the toys and wanting that stupid who in their right mind would make an alien creature a toy for a kid from a R-rated movie that you knew no kid saw?
Yeah, because it was the 670s. That's why.
Yeah.
And no, we got nothing. You couldn't pull a reaction out of them. I mean, it was fun. Listen, don't get me wrong. It was, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it used to be we would all have our choice of classic movie. So we would bring Alien, Close Encounters to the table. And then we'd get Robin Hood Men in Tights from them or Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers. I should go back and listen to those episodes. They were fun.
Yeah, definitely. They're roar.
So since no one else has any speculation on this episode 9 title, I'm done with my news.
Wait, I got something.
Wait,
something.
Okay.
Speaking of Alien, I just read something yesterday that James Cameron is involving himself back into the Alien franchise.
Because I thought he was devoted. He was Avatar 24/7.
I know. You wouldn't think this guy has time to do anything.
Is he merging these two universes?
I don't know, but...
Oh, that would be killer.
20th Century Fox owns Aliens, and now they were been purchased by Disney. So the question is does Disney want to go ahead with these dark R-rated themed type movies? I don't see why not.
I thought so. I read somewhere.
Look at Touchstone. Look at Touchstone Pictures, which was owned by Disney. That's
right.
Fair share of R-rated movies.
Yeah.
So, but the real point of the matter is that Alien Covenant did not perform well at the box office.
Well, maybe if they made a damn good movie.
But this is the thing, is that Ridley Scott is building towards bringing that trilogy of Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and this mystery third movie right up into the beginning of the first Alien. So he could make it full circle. And he needs that last movie to do that. And it does not look like he's going to get it. So James Cameron is swooping in, and he wants to do his own reboot of the Alien series.
And it's all going to take a place aboard the Titanic.
You're right. Jack's going to come back.
They're going to find, they're going to find some eggs in the hold of the
just
Titanic.
Before it sinks.
That was the heart of the ocean.
Yeah.
It was just an alien egg.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. At least it's still on the pop cultural landscape, but the fact that Ridley Scott's not going to...
It sounds like a pissing match at this point.
Yeah.
Mike,
old guys fighting it out.
Wave at the camera, Mike. There he is. Poor Mike's got mic problems.
But we're going to get that rectified next week. He's going to be back.
Oh, can you say that on the? Can you say rectified?
Rectify? Damn near killed him. I don't even know what that means.
But you sold it, Jeff. I don't know what it means either, but you sold it.
That's a famous line back from George Carlson.
He is one of my favorites. I've never lived.
He was the first host of Sunday Night Live, I think, George Carlson.
Yeah, which actually aired on a Monday.
Yeah.
Him and his co-host, Ford Chase.
Yeah.
Oh, my head's spinning. All right, so Jack already brought up Blue Harvest, so let's get into Return of the Jedi.
So as we all know, Blue Harvest was the, could I even say working title, or it was just...
I think it was the working title. I mean, they were filming out in the humid desert, and obviously by that point, Star Wars was monstrous, so they couldn't do anything under the radar, and they were trying to keep people away. So yeah, they came up with this fake. Those hats are actually worth a ton of money. They had branded jackets and hats that had Blue Harvest. Do you know what the tagline was for the movie?
What was the tagline?
Blue Harvest, horror beyond imagination.
Oh.
But apparently it didn't stop diehard fans from getting onto set with dune buggies, because that was when they were filming all the Jabba the Hutt barge scenes.
So that tells me that was never meant to be the title ever of the
No, it was a cover. It was a complete
that
cover.
I did know. Yeah. It was so because George Lucas was so because those first three movies they still are. They're iconic. They were phenoms, and everybody wanted to be the one to break the story of what the new Star Wars movie was going to be about. So George Lucas just said, it's Blue Harvest. And, I think he had people, summarily executed that. Let go. It was going to be Return of the Jedi or stuff. But I thought it was a brilliant move. And then Family Guy did Blue Harvest.
Return of the Jedi was not the original title.
It was, Jeff, though. I read that it was before they changed it to Revenge.
And then back to Return?
It was Return. Then somebody told Lucas that was a terrible title. So then
I think it was the director, Mark Wan. Oh, no, Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote the script, did not like the title. So then he went Revenge and then decided Jedi's don't seek revenge and then went back to Return. So Absolutely. He returned to Return.
He returned to Return, yeah.
My head is spinning.
It could have been No Deposit, No Return of the Jedi.
That could have
been. Now let's talk about, since we're in the early stages of Return of the Jedi, this came up in the news last week. We didn't talk about it because we wanted to save this news item for this week. Apparently, early stages of the Empire script leaked out not too long ago. And in these early drafts of the Empire Strikes Back script, not only was Darth Vader not revealed to be Luke's father, but Luke's father visits him in ghost form on Dagobah when Yoda is training him, rather than Obi-Wan Kenobi. So they were. So in the beginning, they were going in a completely different direction. And as we know, Lucas, from the very beginning, had a 9-film series in mind, with prequels and with the later 3 coming after episodes 4, 5, and 6. But as the series went on, he realized he only had his actors locked in for a 3-picture deal. And he got very nervous. What if they didn't come back? It would kind of ruin his entire plan, because he wanted to do the last 3, episodes 7, 8, and 9. And he had plans of this other that is spoken about at the end of Empire, which we later learn is Princess Leia, the sister. That also, just like Vader was not originally meant to be Luke's father, Leia was not meant to be Luke's sister. This was going to be a separate character we had not met yet, that was going to be brought in during Jedi and fleshed out during the last 3 movies.
Right. He was going to be going searching.
Exactly. But because Lucas realized that he didn't have his main actors signed up, and this may be the last one, it didn't make sense for him to bring in another character at this stage late in the game. So he looked around, who's my only female?
The only female in the entire universe. Wow. That's your sister.
So it kind of got... she kind of got back-ended, as a way to put it, into the role of her sister, and not by Jabba.
Revenge. Well, listen, in that bikini.
I know.
Oh yeah, man.
Yes, Luke's twin sister was her name was Nelith. Was the name that
you even have the name, Jeff? Kudos to you.
Nelith.
Wow.
Yeah, I think part of it also had to do with the fact that his wife had taken all of his money in her divorce, so he had to start making the prequels.
That'll do it.
But yeah, he did have the prequels all set up. He knew that the first trilogy was Luke Skywalker. The second trilogy was the rise and downfall of Anakin. And then the third trilogy was going to be Luke Skywalker searching for his sister.
Yeah. And I wish it would have just went that way. I mean, the Star Wars universe now has become so convoluted. And, with all of these Disney standalone movies, it's even difficult for me to keep track of what is falling in line with A New Hope and what is standalone. And it's very confusing. The young kids have it. The young kids got it down pat. They know.
Yeah, they know. Yeah.
Right? You need a little timeline. So one of the things, Jack, that when we talk about these movies that mean a lot to us is really like your first experience in the theater seeing this. Now, you said that Jedi, out of all the 3 Star Wars, resonated with you the most.
Yes.
So take us back a little bit. How old were you? What was you and I bonded over our love of Star Wars.
Yes, I bonded over the gigantic Yoda that you used to have.
I have him. Yeah. He's sitting right behind my computer over here.
Yeah, man. That's, my first Star Wars experience was seeing A New Hope in the theater with my dad in 77 when it came out.
Right.
But the real big thing with Return of the Jedi with me is Return of the Jedi is a movie of redemption. And it is Luke and his dad at Anakin Skywalker's final moments of life. It's a movie of redemption. And it's personal to me because I kind of had that really kind of weird relationship with my dad in real life, that we didn't have the traditional father and son relationship. My father he was a military guy. He was always away through all of my youth. My dad wasn't around. He was in Vietnam, and he was in places fighting and doing the government thing. And I always wanted that. When I would see other kids with their dads, I always longed for that. And as I got older, my father and our relationship became kind of strained a little bit. But in the end, before my father passed away, we kind of bonded, and we had that moment. And it was redemption. And it really does in real life resonate with me that I have this emotional attachment to Return of the Jedi, because not that my father was Darth Vader. I still have my hand, both of them.
There you go.
They're still but my real life relationship with my dad kind of paralleled Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker, and the redemption and the funeral, the pyre scene at the end of it is very moving. And because it's almost like Luke saying, I finally really got my dad back, and now he's gone.
And this is the power of movies. That right there is a beautiful story. I love it.
And that's honestly a true story. I can't make this stuff up. So
no, you don't. I mean,
that's really my attraction to Return of the Jedi. Plus, I thought Carrie Fisher as Jabba's slave girl is just, I still hearken back to that too, and I'm like, yeah, Carrie, yep, you were my number one pinup girl.
Yes, indeed. Well, you know that this is the only Star Wars movie that has nudity in it, correct?
Yeah. I mean, do you really classify that as nudity?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I think I do. I think I do.
So in Jabba's palace, when Ula, the dancer, gets dropped down into the Sarlacc, or into the Rancor's pit.
Yes.
As she's falling, there's one frame where her boob pops out of the bra.
Famous. And that's like the most famous frame of celluloid in Star Wars.
That and the missing dress from Jessica Rabbit.
Now, Jeff, in your VHS copy of Return of the Jedi,
it's
that
scene whole
completely, the tracking is off and everything. Yeah.
It has been paused so many times. Ula's boobas. Matter of fact, I have a picture signed by Ula.
Of that, her falling?
Of that
not of her falling. No. She was the only one. So we could talk a little bit about when they went back and remastered these for the 97 re-release and had to monkey around with it. And I think we agreed that Empire, the stuff that they added to Empire, enhanced it. Star Wars, we went out of our way to add Jabba. Jedi really didn't have anything too crazy.
I don't think there was much to add to that.
Well, they extended the
musical number
in Jabba's palace, and she was the only actress who came back from the original filming and replayed her role for that scene, because I think all the other creatures were CG. They got rid of Sice Noodles and his band and added some of this other crazy stuff, but
with double-sided tape this time, I assume.
I'm assuming that she probably had something in her contract to tape those bad boys down.
Yeah, man.
So no wardrobe malfunction this time around.
You know what I'm glad they did not remove in the special edition is the other Gamorrean guards laughing at the poor guard that goes down.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's like I took my lunch out of the mail. I do miss the Yub Yub song at the end. They got rid of the Ewok dance song. That I take issue with.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to add to the movie, fine, but don't take anything away.
Did they add the blinking in that 97? No, I think that was the 2004 edition when they decided to put Hayden Christensen in at the end. Get rid of poor Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah, Sebastian Shaw was in the 97 because obviously they hadn't cast Hayden.
Right, correct, yeah. Those 2 years
he was still there at the end in his ghostly form.
Yeah.
Then, a few years later.
The 2004 DVD release, we had to monkey around with it again.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense. That? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. If you're going to do that, then they put Ewan McGregor in his ghostly form rather than Alec Guinness. Yeah.
Now, the only thing that I could think of is that they're saying once he was no longer Anakin when he became Darth Vader. And when he died, he reverted to good Anakin and not bad
But as an old man, not as a young man.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just it was just a silly little. It didn't need to tie that in so directly. Yeah, they could have kept him Sebastian Shaw.
Maybe it was just a way to get Hayden Christensen some royalties.
Yeah.
Could be.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Every time that scene gets played, man, he gets like, I don't know, 1.5 cents. I think.
Or to validate him.
Yeah, to validate.
Yeah.
His parking?
Oh,
What, validate his parking?
Yeah.
lightsaber strike from James.
So what are our standout scenes for Jedi? Do we have any takeaway favorite moments from this movie?
Jeff, you go first.
I will say that the speeder bike scene is pretty intense, and it's right up there with the asteroid scene in Empire. I mean, it's pretty well put together. I mean, obviously you can look at the special effects and they kind of fall apart a little bit, but it's pretty intense.
The final battle scenes in Star Wars movies are just, I mean, these things are intense. I mean, I love them. But Jabba's skiff out in the desert.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that. And it's not because of Carrie Fisher in the slave outfit, although that is part of it.
Right.
I thought the entire scene was so well done. I just loved the idea, loved the concept, and Boba Fett going in.
Yeah, I guess at one point he had actually talked about showing a scene of Boba Fett coming back out, and he didn't want to detract from the actual storyline, so he nixed it.
Coming out of the Sarlacc Pit?
Of the Sarlacc Pit, because the guy's in armor. Even if you're telling me that the stomach juices of this thing is going to, digest you over 1,000 years, that's a fair amount of time for me to figure out how to get out of there.
Exactly. Climb up the teeth.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is my actual favorite scene is the Sarlacc Pit, because I really love that whole,
of course
the whole idea of that.
We got smarmy Luke, though, which I've gone on record that, I was a huge Luke Skywalker fan, but by the time this movie came out, I did not connect with him in any way, shape, or form. He went from
smarmy.
That he was smarmy. He was like, I don't know. In the other movies, he's naive. He's a kid. He just wants off the planet. And even Empire, he still doesn't know what's going on. Yoda's like, ridiculing him. And all he wants to do is help his friends. And he gets his ass handed to him. And then by this one, he's just like this cool, suave army.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's in this episode. You know what I got from that, though, Jeff, other than smarmy? Is you could see that he was torn. Like, he's so torn in the way he acted. Like, am I good? Am I bad? Can I redeem my dad? Do I just join my dad? Do I go to the good?
I agree with you on that. And the fact that he wore black throughout this movie, too. I think kind of speaks to that.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere recently, which I had never seen before, which is that he actually lobbied to put the helmet on at the end after his dad dies, to pick up that helmet and put it on.
No way.
Yeah, and Lucas is like, no way. Nope. Nope, we're going to end on a happy note. Same thing with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford begged him to kill off Han Solo. Let him die. Sacrifice himself for his friends. Nope, we're going to have a happy ending.
And then, to me, like, when he gets killed by his son, I thought it was just this almost anticlimactic death for Han Solo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of the way Liam Neeson got killed in episode 1. It was just kind of, done.
Yeah.
There was no grandeur about it.
No.
Yeah, especially because then Obi-Wan dispatched Darth Maul so easily.
Yeah, and then, Darth Maul died, man. That was like, holy cow, the dude got cut in half.
Right.
Liam Neeson, done. Harrison Ford, done. Here, you got your wish. Now you're dead. Go.
Yeah, there you go. Right. 20 years later. All right, I finally killed you.
Yeah, you're dead. Go.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever thought about the fact that the Sarlacc Pit could be a giant metaphor for losing bachelorhood? For just a giant vagina in the desert, and all these guys about to be pushed into it, never to return. And
are you saying that married men, that their wife is tantamount to a?
Well, I mean,
your wife listens to these episodes.
I mean, like Harrison Ford is about to, for all intents and purposes, he and Princess Leia are about to hitch up, and this is his final shot, and he's like, "Am I going to go into the Sarlacc Pit of life?" And
hey guys, what are you doing tonight? Well, I'm going to go grab a beer. What are you going to do? Well, it's back to the old Sarlacc Pit.
The old Sarlacc. Nice.
My wife is a Sarlacc Pit.
Wow.
I want the soundbite of that because I'm playing that on my show. Jim saying, do you ever think that, the Sarlacc Pit is like marriage?
Well, I do now.
I do now.
Maybe I'll start a T-shirt line. Who knows?
Jim, that is the funniest damn thing I think I've ever heard, man. It's just, marriage is like a Sarlacc Pit.
There you go.
And let me break this to you. I tend to watch movies ever since I've had a kid, since he was young, because to get him to bed and get him to stay to bed was an issue. So whenever we would watch a movie, we would watch it with the subtitles, with the sound kind of down. And I've kept doing that, even though he no longer has the sleep issues. But I find that it's a nice way to keep up with a movie if you miss a snatch of dialogue or what have you. So that's what I do. I just watch movies now with the subtitles on and the sound on. So I'm watching Jedi this way, and in the special edition, when you see all the different worlds celebrating the downfall of the new Death Star and the Empire, you go to Naboo, and you hear a voice. You don't really hear it, but it comes up on the subtitles. Weesa free!
Weesa free!
Jar Jar Binks is now in Return of the Jedi.
Count me out of this one.
Holy crap.
You wouldn't know it unless you had the subtitles on. But
I wonder if they came back and had Ahmed Best actually do that line.
And I rewound it, listened intently, and you can hear it. You can hear it faintly. Weesa free!
Weesa free!
Weesa free! He's dead.
That's it.
Unbelievable.
So, and listen to this. David Lynch and David Cronenberg turned down the directing job for Return of the Jedi. Imagine David Lynch were directing Return of the Jedi.
That would have been some hardcore crap, right?
It would have been. He turned it down to do Dune.
Dude.
What a career suicide that was.
Yeah. Dune has its good stuff. It's just,
and of course,
extremely long film.
It is.
It is, yeah.
See, as a kid, I had no concept for what was going on. That was lost on me as a 13-year-old. So I've never.
It would be. As 2001: A Space Odyssey was lost on many people. I didn't get it till I was like 40.
And Cronenberg was too busy doing Videodrome and then The Dead Zone, and he turned it down.
Unbelievable, man.
And Spielberg couldn't do it
because the Directors Guild.
Yeah. So we got Richard Marquand, who I don't think anybody's ever heard of before or since.
No, I don't think so.
He did not get along with Lucas at all. Lucas actually shot a lot of the second unit stuff. He shot that whole funeral pyre in his backyard.
Did he really?
Yeah,
at Skywalker Ranch, he shot that?
Yeah, basically, like out in the woods. Yeah.
Wow. All right, we got to flame up Darth Vader.
Exactly.
All right,
what are you doing this weekend, Mark? Come on over.
Yeah, come on over.
We'll have a barbecue.
That's it. We'll throw a couple of steaks up on Darth after we're done.
But let's go back a little bit. We were talking about Luke being in black and being conflicted, whether he's good or whether he's bad. He's obviously got issues in Return of the Jedi. He's learned that Darth Vader is his father. He's struggling with the fact. He's trying to reconcile it. Is it true? Is it not? What does this mean for me? So you see now why he's such more of a serious character than he was previously in Star Wars and Empire. Because all this research that I did leading up to this show, everything reads that roughly 1 year happens between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So Luke really has no time to go back to Dagobah to finish his training. You are under the impression that Luke doesn't see Yoda from the end of Empire until he goes back to see him in Return of the Jedi. There's been no contact. But yet Luke has much more gravitas,
yes. Yeah. Oh, you guys are selling me on this now. I've always kind of poo-pooed Luke, but maybe I got to give him a second chance.
So he's humorless and serious and everything else that he wasn't before, and there's a reason.
Lost his blonde hair.
There's a reason for it. Yeah.
The thing is when I saw Return of the Jedi, I saw especially A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. I saw all three of them. It was at a point that I had to see these things in the theater. I had to see it. And I just remember sitting there and like, wow, like I was really completely immersed in this movie. And that was another thing that endears me to Return of the Jedi. I think it was the only Star Wars movie out of the first three where I was completely emotionally immersed in the film. And, you know, and it was because of Mark Hamill's acting in it. And you know, and Jeff, it's a great point that he was completely in black throughout the movie. And that you just said, this guy, he's going over the edge. He's going to the dark side. And then the redemption again at the end of the movie was just a beautiful way to end it. Over.
No, you got me speechless here because of that. You've now sold me.
Well, you get to now you get to see it almost through our eyes, what we saw. And that's what I love the show. I love what you guys are doing because it gives you have the opinions to where, you know, Jeff or Jim or Mike, when his mic works, you give an opinion and you know, you can now go rewatch that movie and say, oh, now I know what they're talking about.
Right.
And it's almost really kind of like watching it again for the first time.
Yeah, well, I will say that's one of the great things about the show, which is, you know, we talk about these movies, but now going back and watching a movie with a critical mind that I'm going to talk about it. So you want to have talking points. So sometimes you're seeing things that you've seen 100 times, but now you're seeing it completely differently.
Yeah.
So that's really, you know, opened up my eyes to a lot of these films that we kind of touch upon. And then there's other movies that I've never seen in my entire life that we're now, you know, choosing. And it's like, why did it take me 50 years to see this movie?
Exactly. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah, we haven't gone down that road yet, but we've gotten close.
Does that still exist? Is that
Oh, yeah, it's out there, man.
Yeah.
I think you can find it on YouTube probably. That and Plan 9 from Outer Space is another.
That's a good one.
That's another classic.
Yeah. I was watching Abbott and Costello go to Mars last night.
Is there a Go to Mars?
Yeah, they don't even go to Mars. They go to like Venus or something. It's like they completely mislead you with the title. Have we talked our way out of Jedi?
I think so, man.
I think we have, yeah.
You guys want to talk about Groundhog Day too, right?
Groundhog Day.
This is going to be like an exclusive show where it goes like, this is going to need an intermission, actually.
Wait, actually, before we leave Jedi, let's just talk about some of the merchandising. What kind of stuff did you guys have from Jedi? Is that
everything? No, I take that back. Jedi, Empire, I think, was the pinnacle as far as my collecting, because I was probably like 14, 15 by then. But I still had to go to Burger King and get the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Jedi. I had a Jedi shirt that was just Luke and Darth Vader that I pulled out of my bin, and my son wore it for probably about 2 years of his life before he outgrew it. So
wow,
it was like an heirloom. I don't know if he still has it. It should be around somewhere because, as my wife points out, I never throw anything away.
No, mine does.
As you can see,
too,
yeah. The only thing that I still have is the Rancor monster. All through the years, even when I denied in my teenage years, when I was trying to buy a car and I denied my nerd status, and I was selling back all the stuff just so I could buy stuff like a car and things like that, I always kept the Rancor monster, and I still have that to this day. And I kick myself for the tool that I was when I was 17 and 18 and 19.
Do you remember when they came out with the diorama scenes? Like they had Jabba's dancers and then,
the action figures. Yes, I know you're talking.
I still have those. I think the only one that I don't have, and I again, like Jim, I kick myself because I had a chance of getting it, and I'm beyond this now.
Yeah.
They did a diorama scene called Minoc Hunt.
They're in the okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I have Jabba's dancers, like Jim. I have Luke and the Rancor. That really big gift. Actually, it was a birthday gift from my dad. That, cool. and I still have that. I have this massive Star Wars collection. I have like these action figures. I have tubs full of them, still in the package. Everything, nothing came out of the package. They're still in the package. The freeze frame, the slide action figures.
Yeah, you're talking the Powers of the Force, which
Powers of the Force,
97, 98, they reissued when Hasbro took those over.
And when I got older and I got dumber, I just, when Phantom Menace came out, I got the first 3 waves of action figures. I bought cases. sealed cases of wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. All of the action figures are zeros. They're all zeroed action figures.
Right.
And I should take pictures of the boxes and send it to you guys. There's a stamp on the side of the box from Lucasfilms that says these action figures are not to go on the shelf before this X.
Nice.
And I got them at a store that doesn't even exist anymore. I think it was
Toys R Us?
Ames department store. No, it was, they went out before Toys R Us. But yeah, I knew a lady there, and she sold me a case of each.
Yeah. So you're the guy that I couldn't find that rare figure because you bought the entire case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then had to pay $30 for them on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got hosed a little bit on those cases, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say there. You know, unfortunately, we all jumped on. By the time episode 1 came around, we were all trying to clamor and recapture.
Yep.
You know, the moment when you're like, oh, I used to have that guy, and now I threw him away. Oh, I'm gonna make up for that. We're gonna buy all these. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went midnight Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Absolutely.
Fighting over things. Yeah, absolutely. They sit in tubs. They sit in tubs up in the attic and probably, you know.
But I remember acutely, 1983, going to Caldor, looking, every time I'd go in there, I'd be looking for that Gamorrean guard figure. And paging through all the figures on the peg, going through Wicket.
Damn you, Wicket. Well, the Gamorrean guard, you actually got your money's worth because he was so fat and heavy.
And heavy, yeah.
So the card actually tilted sideways on the peg. You knew it.
Do you not have that? Do you not have that figure?
The Gamorrean guard? Yeah, I have him now. I eventually did find him, yes.
Oh, I was going to say, because I think I got like 2 or 3 of them. I'd give you one if you were missing.
Yeah, no, I've got one too. I have got one too.
I got like Darth Vader removable helmet if anybody needs one. I think I got like 4 or 5 of these things. You know. And then I went for Biggs. Remember the Biggs Darklighter action figure?
Yeah.
Because there was a variant to where his vest, it was either gray or he had a black vest. His vest trimmings were black. So I would go out and buy these Biggs figures. And I'm going to have like this massive sell-off, I think, of Star Wars figures. So anybody in the TMI world that wants action figures, hit me up.
So what kind of buckets, Jack, as our guest, what kind of buckets would you give Return of the Jedi? We have a 5 bucket list system for films, 5 being the best, 1 obviously being the worst. What kind of buckets would you give?
Because of my emotional attachment to the movie.
And that's what it's about, though. It's not necessarily that it's a great movie.
It's without a doubt a 5 bucket movie for
me. There you go.
You know, and it's because I liked it, and like I said, it was the redemption factor of it is just very personal to me. So it's 5 buckets, and I know that everybody is an Empire fan. You ask Star Wars fans our age, you know, which favorite Star Wars movie? I would say probably 7 out of 10 people are going to say Empire.
I always go New Hope, but again, that's because of the emotional connection I had to it as a kid.
Exactly. So, but yeah, definitely 5 buckets on.
There you go.
Return
right out of the gate, Jack's going 5 buckets. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely.
I don't know if I can go quite 5, but I need to rewatch this again now because I feel that maybe I need to rewatch it with this whole Luke Skywalker connection. I'm going to go 4.5.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I would go 4 as well.
4?
4. A solid 4 for me. It's the Ewoks that take that bucket away. It's just.
Would you have felt better if they were Wookiees as intended?
I would have. I thought I would have loved it if it was Wookiees tearing arms off and just going nuts.
You know, like the bloodthirsty teddy bears.
Hey, in Solo, they do say that Chewbacca eats people. Remember that scene?
They did. We haven't fed him in a while. Yeah, that's why
we haven't fed him in a while.
Solo into the pit.
I'm going to have to watch this movie.
You have to. I've gone on record as saying he's the sexiest Chewbacca since Empire. I mean, since Jedi.
You know, as an intermission, I've poured everybody bowls of C-3PO cereals. So
I like it.
Burst them now.
CPOs.
Now, it's here. The excitement, the adventure of a new force at breakfast.
We'll call them C-3POs.
New C-3PO cereal from Kellogg's. Twin rings, phased together. For 2 crunches in every double O. A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. Now you can experience the taste of Kellogg's C-3POs. A crunchy new force at breakfast.
May the force be with you.
Did you ever notice that 3PO talk like he sounded a little like the original Dr. Smith from Lost in Space?
Oh, yeah? Oh, my boy.
Dear R2, I'm not going that way.
Yeah.
Young William is this way.
He was
I love
originally
when-
supposed to be like a used car salesman.
When 3PO is at the gate of Jabba's palace and he tries to talk Jabba-ese, Atu di Tawa. I thought that you only add an awa at the end and then Jabba can understand
and
it.
suddenly they understand you.
R2 di Tawa.
Let me in.
C3PO.
Open the door.
I want to go on the floor.
All right.
Hey,
So let's get into Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
All right.
So, okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties because it's cold out there today. That's right, woodchuckers. It's Groundhog Day. Oh, we're all supposed to do that together. There you go. 1993, this movie came out.
In February
93. Classic. Are we going to say right now that this is a 5 bucket movie?
I would give this 5
I'm
buckets.
giving this movie 5 buckets.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 5 bucket film.
I recommended this to a friend once who 20 years later still will not let me forget it. She was just like, Jeff, it's the same thing over and over again. I'm like, yeah, that's the point of the movie. It's so stupid.
That's the genius of the movie.
I'm pretty sure that was my argument.
Yeah.
Nah, she wasn't buying it.
The script. Wouldn't you love to see the script for Groundhog Day? It's probably like 13 pages long.
Yeah.
I just saw recently somebody had, it was one of these memes that they should announce a Groundhog Day 2 and then just re-release the original movie. I said that's, again, genius.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolute genius. That was good. I really enjoyed it. It's, believe it or not, though, I have to admit, it is not in my personal collection of owned movies.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it wasn't in mine either.
I do own it. I have the special edition.
Yeah, I do not own it. I'm very shocked over that. I really am. And I'm not like one of these guys that converted their whole collection to Blu-ray. There's something about getting those DVDs and I pull them out and it's bizarre. But when I take a DVD out of a film that I bought, I like kind of remember where it was in my life, what I was doing when I bought this film. And I could do that with almost every DVD I have. That's why it's almost, again, like Toy Story 3, can't throw it away.
Yeah, well, that was me with my comic books, which is, there are certain books I could tell you exactly where I scraped together the money, where I bought it, and where I read it.
Yeah. Same with albums, CDs. For
there
me.
You go. Yeah, exactly. So we all have that connection. We all like this material possessions.
Yeah.
So
I think it is. And
that is why Toy Story 3 is so heart-wrenching.
Yeah, it's really, it's geekdom. I mean, it's and I'm proud of it. I really am, because I am a nerd and I am geeky with things and my possessions. And I'm like, Jeff, I look around and I say, why do I have this? But I can't get rid of it either.
Yeah.
So
you do that emotional connection. Just
it's
crazy. And it's hard to explain to some people what that is.
My wife.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Oh, you mean the Sarlacc?
Yeah. The old ball and Sarlacc.
The old Sarlacc.
You try to explain, and I think it's just something in the female gene that they don't get it. There are female geeks out there, but I think they are a rarity, that think the same way a guy does. It's just geeky thinking that, I can't get rid of this. I just can't do it. I'll put things away. I'll put them in totes. I'll put them in the attic. Yeah. And, eventually I'll get rid of stuff. But, when I need money.
Right. And even then it's like,
even with that, man. Happy Sarlacc, happy life.
There you go. Oh, man, we need to make shirts.
Yes.
Sarlacc.
My Sarlacc is awesome.
Mine is Sandy. Is that a Boba Fett in your Sarlacc?
Oh, man. You see how we just go from Groundhog Day?
I know.
Yeah, Groundhog Day's going out the window.
We got to make it back to Punxsutawney somehow.
Yes, we have to.
You thought I digressed.
Yes.
Yeah, let's just go.
So Bill Murray, I think his epitome of acting and his number one movie for me is this. You could say Stripes, you could say Caddyshack, He's
I would
in
push
so many.
Scrooged. I would think Scrooge.
Scrooged, really?
Yeah, really. He's got a very nuanced performance in there.
Yeah, I mean, I like he's really Bill Murray. He's got diversity in his acting. You know, there's always sometimes that goofy part of him comes out in almost anything that he does.
Oh, Mike said meatballs.
Meatballs, yeah.
Wow, I forgot about meatballs.
Or Silent
Totally.
Partner.
I think Bill Murray forgot about meatballs.
Yeah, I know. Great use of "Schools Out" in the opening title.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
yeah. But again, yeah, this is a great. He's kind of understated compared to like some of the other movies he's done.
Yeah, and again, it's almost here again. He's living the same day over and over and over and over and over again, and it finally clicks that start changing yourself. Start doing.
I think, it takes him a fair amount of time.
Yeah,
it does. And but again, it's almost redemption. You get to see, he can see himself for the jackass he was in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, man, here he is, and he's by the time it's over, he's this changed person.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that because it's almost like he goes through the 5 stages of grief.
Yes.
It's like denial, then he gets angry, then it's bargaining, depression, and then acceptance.
Yep.
And so, he has to go through those. It's very much a character study. If any one of us were stuck in that loop, what would you,
Yeah.
Do you just become, at some point you become a different person.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opinions out there as to how long he's stuck in the time loop. Harold Ramis thinks it's 30 to 40 years.
I read anywhere from 8 to 34 years. Yeah.
I never heard either of those.
Yeah.
Because Harold Ramis is saying, okay, he's doing all these things. He's learning piano. You really can only get good at your craft over a lifetime. So that's how he was justifying that.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, there's no concrete number that said, all right, he lived 10,000 years or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, even 34 years the same day. It's crazy.
And again, his name is Phil in the movie, as is the Groundhog.
The Groundhog. Yeah.
So there's some correlation there. Yeah.
Like the Groundhog? There's so many great iconic lines in this movie that are just repeatable. It really is. It's well written. It's well choreographed because again, it's the same day over and over again, but there's all these little nuanced things that he does. And even things like, I think there's one where the kid falls and breaks his leg. And you see it like in the background at one point, and then later, 40 minutes later, you see him saving the kid, like actually catching the kid in the tree. So like all these little things had to be, that's where like an editor comes in. Do you shoot this stuff all in sequence? Do you shoot it just numerous takes of the same scene in different?
Yeah.
I can't say enough about this movie. I love this movie. I think it's great.
Yeah. It's like not stepping in the puddle.
Right. How long did it take him to even get to that point? Phil Connor, Ned Ryerson, and that he's such that guy is such a character player. Tobolowsky,
I believe his last name is. Yep.
And he just kills it. And by the end, Phil's just like, Ned Ryerson, what are you doing tonight? Let's go. And he chases the guy away after a while because
and he's got the line, whatever you're doing, call in sick.
Yes, there you go. That was it. Yep.
That's right.
Oh man. And Chris Elliott, who I absolutely love, and he actually plays very straight character.
Yeah, he's very understated, Chris Elliott in this movie. But still very funny if you watch what he's doing.
Yes.
His reactions to everything. I don't know if anybody caught this. And this is the actual name of the town or the square that the actual Punxsutawney Phil resides in. Yeah. Gobbler's Knob. What a name. Gobbler's Knob.
Yeah.
Gobbler's Knob.
Who has the job of polishing Gobbler's Knob?
That's true. That is so true.
Definitely not Rita or Andy McDowell's character. We know that she's not a polisher of notes.
Lovely Rita.
She's not a polisher of the knob, but the gobbler of the knob.
That's a different story.
I did an entire morning show on that, and what the whole thing was my my goal was to say Gobbler's Knob on the air as many times as I could in 4 hours with different inflection in my voice to see if it was actually a place, if it was a noun, a verb, what it was, you know? And I tried to place it in different sentences, and they caught wise to me about 90 minutes into my show. And it was like, you know, I go to break and they come in and they're like, you know, Jack, can you stop the Gobbler's Knob?
Why, are you offended by Gobbler's Knob?
Why? I may have listeners in Gobbler's Knob. I may. And they're very happy that I'm putting Gobbler's Knob on the map in 4 or 5 different
shining a light on the knob.
Yeah, I'm shining a light on the knob. So yeah. Groundhog Day, man, Gobbler's Knob.
Yep. I'm speechless now. I don't know where to go after that.
Sorry. Once again, derailing shows.
Okay. No, I got something.
Okay, go ahead.
The original script actually had the plot start right in the middle of one of his time warps, and you wouldn't know as the viewer what was happening until about halfway through the movie with a Bill Murray voiceover. So you're right into it in the original version of the script when he wakes up, right in the middle of his whole time warp experience. So you're seeing him go through the town, and he obviously knows what's happening, but nobody knows him. So that was an odd take, I think, and they were going to go with that until the last minute. The studio rejected it. And also, I had an explanation for this. An ex-girlfriend that you see in the very beginning of the first draft of the script, he dumps right before he goes to Punxsutawney. She casts a spell on him, which causes him to time warp.
I like the fact that you never really...
Yeah, you never do. And it's...
No, it's just kind of like, all right, are you that big of a douchebag that...
It's like the forces of nature at work,
right,
you know?
We're just like, you know what, we're going to fix you.
Yeah.
Like, worthy of being fixed.
I don't think there are certain things in film that, I mean, I don't think require an explanation. I think it is what it is, and leave it up to the viewer and the audience member to put their take on it. All right, why is this
either
happening?
You get it or you don't.
Exactly.
Totally. If you don't get it, you listen to shows like this, and we'll
tell you.
We'll tell you.
We'll tell you how you should feel about it. So
that's right. And if nothing else, we'll tell you Gobbler's Knob.
Yeah.
Well, this movie was preserved at the film registry in 2007, so somebody got it.
And I think it was worthy of it. I do.
Yes,
I really do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's put it this way: the premise has been repeated numerous times since. Look at what's coming out next week. Happy Death Day to You. That's basically
let's do Groundhog Day horror movie. You know.
Yeah. Even Live, Die, Repeat, which they renamed Edge of Tomorrow. It's sci-fi, which is a great movie, by the way. It's a brilliant movie. I love the Tom Cruise movie Edge of Tomorrow, but that's exactly what it is. It's Groundhog Day in space.
What came first, Groundhog Day or Quantum Leap? Because Quantum Leap is kind of an abstract version of Groundhog Day.
They were very close.
He was jumping. I was going to say it's pretty. Yeah, because this was 93. Quantum Leap.
Because when you think of it,
had to have been around the same time.
You know, Sam Beckett was actually, when he's leaping, he's going back and reliving a Groundhog Day and trying to change things or not. Well,
he's jumping into other people's lives. But
he's groundhogging for others.
He's groundhogging. He's gobbler knobbing for others.
I was just getting ready to say he never jumped into Gobbler's Knob, or not even in the middle of it. I mean, he just, he wasn't there.
And this movie also gives us the phrase,
"Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry."
Which
I have said numerous times.
Don't drive angry.
Don't drive angry.
I always like the one when he was. Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster? She goes, "I don't know. I'll check the kitchen."
Now, apparently, Murray was bit several times by the groundhog during that driver's scene.
During that driver scene.
And he had to get a rabies shot, I think, just for preventative measures. But also heard that Murray was apparently going through a divorce.
Yep, that I did hear.
And he and Harold Ramis fell out because of this movie.
Yeah. Well, I think, I did read that Murray, because he was going through a divorce, became like hyper-focused on this script and would just call Ramis at every hour on the hour talking about it, and it got to the point where Harold Ramis couldn't deal with it, so he actually pawned him off on one of his assistants, and that was part of the rift, which was that, you know, I'm going to you as a friend, and the guy's like, dude, I can't deal with you. Here, talk to my assistant. So that was
that would be, I mean, you know, Jeff, it's kind of like you're calling Jim, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're talking to, you know, the 7-Eleven guy.
right.
Jeff, I don't have time right now, man. This
dude, I don't have time for your crap.
Yeah. Here's the other Jim at 7-Eleven. He'll talk to you. But I have. You want some good trivia? I have been bit by a groundhog.
Really?
I have. I worked in the pet industry before. When I was my early years of radio, I was only doing it part-time, so I had to have another job, and I managed a pet store to which we had it wasn't really a groundhog, it was a prairie dog, but close. And this prairie dog was just this gentle, beautiful little creature that we had. It was the store pet, but I didn't realize you couldn't touch a prairie dog when they're in heat. So I had to clean the prairie dog cage, which was this massive enclosure. And I go to pick her up, and those teeth, which are just like a groundhog, she bit me clean to the bone twice. Ooh. And she struck like a cobra. It was like, bam, bam. She hit me, and and I wouldn't drop her. I wouldn't let her go. And
so it's like repeat.
And it was, she just kept hitting the same finger and over again. And I finally got an enclosure to put her down. But they're really sweet animals, but they get agitated so quickly. And I can see Bill Murray agitating a groundhog.
Right. Yeah. He agitated his best friend. I'm sure it wouldn't take much to agitate the woodchuck. That whole story, I kept thinking
Harold Ramis pushed Bill Murray off to the groundhog. You know, really
they became best friends. They became best friends, him and the woodchuck.
I can't really talk to you right now. Talk to the groundhog, Bill.
So Tom Hanks was actually considered to this.
Yes, he was. Can you imagine this?
No,
I can't.
He was deemed too nice, and I agree. That would have been bad casting.
Tom Hanks has never really been douchey, right?
No. I mean,
has he ever?
I don't think so.
You'd have to dig a little bit. Well, that was last week we talked about Bird Box, and it was like, you know, Sandra Bullock is not a likable character in that movie. And it's she plays against type because every movie she's in, she's likable. She's like this little girl next door type of thing. And I think the same thing with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, we could do I'm sure you guys could do a whole show on Tom Hanks.
And a matter of fact, that's why Stephen King hates the film version of The Shining, because he thinks that Nicholson, he's crazy from the get-go. Because Nicholson is just crazy, you know, in reality. The character demands somebody that's normal in the beginning, and the horror is that he turns into a maniac towards the end of the movie. But Nicholson, he says, is nuts all the way through. So you don't get that change of character. But with this, you really do with Bill, because he's such a asshole in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
You know, and then
and that's what sells his characters, though. That's, you know, that when he gets up there and he's like, this is one time where television really fails to capture the true excitement of a large squirrel predicting the weather. And what you mentioned before, his name is Phil, just like the woodchuck. They're both weathermen.
Yeah.
They both have the same job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think I even made that connection.
And this is filmed in Woodstock, Illinois. They tried to film it. They went to Punxsutawney. There's nothing there that was there wasn't a nice town square that they could keep coming back to.
No, Gobbler's Knob is like 2-3 miles out of town. It's not like it's right in the center of town like it is now.
And you don't want that in the center of town. Believe me, Gobbler's Knob.
Yeah, good draw.
Red Light District.
Yeah. So, and as a matter of fact, Punxsutawney, because they were miffed that they weren't being used for the filming, they refused to transport the actual Punxsutawney Phil to Woodstock, Illinois. So they had to get a substitute groundhog.
That's not even really Punxsutawney.
But they did send an envoy from Punxsutawney to make sure that everything was going per their liking in Woodstock,
they
Illinois.
Want to be, misportrayed.
Can you imagine the grand poobah of Punxsutawney, you know, arriving with his envoy in a...
Could he be any more pompous than Brian Doyle Murray? I mean...
As that,
sells it. He sells it.
I'm glad you caught that. Bill Murray's brother as the mayor in Groundhog Day. Yeah.
His brothers always show up.
Yeah.
In his films, in one way or another. You got Brian
even
Doyle
as Scrooge, his brother is his brother. Yeah.
And he's got another brother too. And
he does.
who was in Armageddon, actually, with Bruce Willis. The guy that is drilling into the asteroid, and the whole kit and caboodle goes up into space, the whole cart.
Yeah, right.
That heavyset guy is also a Murray.
Really?
Yes, he's one of the Murray brothers. If you look that up, I'm almost certain I would bet my Rancor on it.
And also trivia, Michael Shannon is in Groundhog
I was going to bring that up, but this was like his screen debut.
It is, yeah. He's the guy that gets the WrestleMania tickets off of Murray at the end.
WrestleMania! No way! Thank you, Mr. Connors. You're a real pal.
Oh, really? That's him?
That's him, yeah.
Yep. Do you know who the wife is?
No, I don't.
Her name is Hynden Watch, and she is the voice of Starfire on TV.
Really?
Yep.
Now, see, this is a level.
Or Hynden Watch.
This is way above my pay grade.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have known that. I would have recognized Michael Shannon's name, but yeah. There you go. So you got two DC connections right there. You got Zod and Starfire.
And Starfire from Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans.
Wow. And that diner that they were in is called the Tip Top Cafe in the movie. Actually named the Tip Top Bistro in Woodstock, Illinois, and it actually operated as a diner for many years until it closed down, unfortunately. All you people that are making your plane reservations as you're listening to this.
Yes.
It's now a taqueria in Woodstock, Illinois.
That's like in Super Troopers. Like Super Troopers, the original Super Troopers was filmed in this area in Dutchess County, New York, and the famous scene where they're chugging maple syrup, that place was a real active restaurant. It was called M's Cozy Corner, and that was the actual name of the restaurant. They used it to film, and it's a shame because it's gone. It was a pharmacy at one point in time. They gutted it and made it a pharmacy, and now it's just a vacant building. You know, it's a shame that Tip Top is. If I was in that area of Illinois, I would want to go there just to see
absolutely,
it.
Yeah.
I lived in Queens at the time when Coming to America was being filmed, and on Queens Boulevard where they converted the Wendy's into McDougal's.
McDougal's.
McDowell's?
Was it McDowell's or McDougal's?
I think it was the Dowells. It was McDowell's now.
That was a good movie too.
Fun stuff.
So yeah, classic film. I think it's one of the all-time greats. Period.
Yeah. Not according to my friend, but
no.
She did not like it.
Because it hits all the buttons. It's a feel good. It's very funny. It's got Bill Murray. What else can you ask?
Yeah, and like Jack said before, he's redeemed at the end. It's a redemption.
Yeah, I love these.
It shows that if we all have 34 years, we can change.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you don't,
you learn piano.
You're quite douchey if you don't.
Oh, absolutely.
34, and you get to nail Andy McDowell at the end. So
yeah,
you got that going for you.
And I just wanted to know, during the middle of the film, he tries to save the old man, the old bum that dies during the day. Does he give up on that? I think he does.
I think he dies. Yeah, I think he's like one of the. Yeah, it doesn't matter what he does. The old guy dies.
He brings him to the diner. He feeds him. He tries CPR on the street, and then like the paramedic just says he was old. That's why he died. He was old.
Yeah, he can't redeem himself. There's something, you can't change everything, I guess.
It's almost like you're trying to, and not to get religious or spiritual, but there are things that you cannot change.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
And like you said, he does everything he can, but the old man still dies.
Right.
And it's just like, you can't change God's will at certain points in time, no matter what you do. And that's why I think it's, at the end, when the redemption comes, I think by that point, he realizes, well, look, there are things that I can change about myself and things that I can control. And everything else is, man, can you imagine repeating that you're trying to save a person and they die every time? Just no matter what you do.
No matter what you do.
You think about that, and it's heartbreaking. And imagine if that you had to repeat that, and that person that kept dying was somebody that you loved. That would be, to me, that would be absolute hell. That would be hell, purgatory, everything, all in one. So for sure. Yeah, it was a great. Wait, you guys picked 2 redemption films without even knowing.
That is interesting. Yeah. There you go. We tied it in.
We often try to do that, and I didn't see one for these 2 movies, but there is.
No, there you go. We talked deep enough, and
let's go play Red Dead Redemption now.
I'm gonna go bottle returns, so I'm gonna redeem those.
Yeah,
I got a bunch.
So yeah, 5 buckets. We have to
I agree.
inaugurate this. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree for sure. I'm gonna have to
Mike, thumbs up. 5.
You got a 5 out of Mike.
Yeah. Mike is here. In case you forgot, Mike is still with us.
I'm watching Mike. I'm just I'm watching Mike. We have these little and I think I'm gonna throw you guys like $20, and we're all gonna chip in and buy Mike a mic.
I think he's going right after this.
The Mike on Mike fund.
Mike on Mike fund.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go fund me. Go fund Mike.
Go fund Mike. Go fund yourself.
Go fund yourself.
So this brings us to our weekly confessional question.
Confessionals.
Now,
Boy.
Jeff, this was your idea. So based off of Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Lay it on.
And it's funny, as I just found out that there's another podcast that I've been interacting with on Instagram, and they have the exact same question out on their page because they are reviewing Happy Death Day to You.
Okay.
The exact same question. So basically, if you could inhabit one movie to relive over and over again, what would it be? So if you were forced to relive a movie as a character,
could it be watching a movie, or would I have to?
No. You inhabit the movie. So you are in the movie. You are living the movie. You are living the lead character.
This is a different ball of wax. I was looking at it a whole other way.
No. Inhabit as in to live in.
This is tough.
Yeah.
Mine would be
go,
pretty dark. Mine would be pretty dark, actually.
Okay, let's go.
It would be easy to say like Baywatch, the beach. I just think that's too easy. Mine is dark, actually. If I would to live a role over and over, I think I would love it to be like John Constantine. Did you ever see Constantine?
Another Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, only because can you imagine like you're just fighting evil every day, kicking its ass at every turn?
I think it'd get tiring though.
No, man, I don't know. Is this like living it over and over for like, 30, 40 years? Or are we talking?
I don't know. I didn't put a time limit on it, but
all right.
So say 1 year. Say 1 year you had to live the same day over and over again.
Say the forces that be say you like that movie too much. We're going to make you live.
We're going to make you eat it.
Well, then it would have to be Carrie Fisher as Jabba's slave. I don't know. I would be a skiff guard. I would take skiff guard at that point.
Would you be Jabba?
Just to have her lay on me, I would.
There you go.
Yeah. Imagine being Jabba. You could just eat whatever you want, not care.
Oh yeah.
And you have this beautiful girl in like this half metal, half cloth bikini.
And once a day you could see that boob pop out.
Yeah, the Rancor. I want to be the Rancor.
You get to eat the Gamorrean guard.
Yeah, I get to eat the guard and watch a boob fall out every day. And I would, as a Rancor, I would change the way she falls so they both fly out.
Save her. Or you could save her, not eat her. Maybe one day she becomes your friend.
Do you think Jabba ever cooks one of the guards and has brisket or
There's got to be a point where he just points. He's got to have like a chef.
Yeah.
Gamorrean chef.
Figure out how to have guard and sweet potato. Extra marshmallows on
I'd be eating that Bib Fortuna. He was a jerk.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with Constantine. I would love to do it.
That's cool. I
would love to be John Constantine, and fight evil.
Mike, do we have any thoughts? You can chime in.
Mike would want to be the guy with an active microphone.
Yeah, pump up the volume. Chris.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Mike is going with.
Just sit there, slap the neck.
There you go. Woo. Mike just went Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, great pick, Mike.
Wow. That's a lot of running every day, though.
And that's variety. That's the entire 3-film series, too. It's not like one movie you're reliving. It's 3.
Yeah, so one day you make half a trip to Mordor. The next day you're fighting Helm's Deep.
Yeah, you got to work on your sad eyes because Frodo gives a lot of sad eyes in Return of the King. A lot of close-ups of Frodo.
Yeah.
And you know what? Gollum would never get you because you know what he's up to.
Yeah, that's true.
He couldn't fool you. He couldn't fool you.
Yeah. All right, you want me to go next, Jim, since you need to rethink
Yeah,
this?
I gotta look at the menu for a couple more minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that I went right down the depravity hole because I chose Caligula.
Oh.
the 160-minute hardcore version, just right for the hardcore porn.
As Caligula?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Now,
It's good to be the king, right? It's good to be the king.
No, screw Constantine. I'm like Debbie Does Dallas now.
There you go. See, you didn't put enough thought into this. If I had to relive,
I don't know where we can go with this.
Variety there over the year.
Like, hell, man, I want to be Dirk Diggler.
Ooh.
That's what I want to be. I want to screw Constantine. Hell with
well, you could. Evil. You could as Diggler.
Hell with fighting evil. I want to be Dirk Diggler.
There you go. See, you guys are thinking about this all wrong.
Roller Girl and...
I don't want to learn anything. I don't want to have any life lessons.
Hell, Jack's off redemption now. Jack is just straight into, like, I want to be a porn star.
There you go. Yep. That's where I went. Sorry.
It's a good pick, though, Jeff.
And I've honestly, to be honest, I've never seen the movie.
I've never seen it either. I've been scared
it just so...
I have. It's sick.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's a sick movie. Yeah. And I only watched it once, and there's like scenes in that movie that are just forever burned into my brain.
We might have to visit this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah.
I'll see if the library has it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go in. Hey, do you have a copy of Caligula?
Right here, my private collection.
Then they hand it to you, man, and it's like, looks like it's been washed a few times.
See, I would pick... Now, thinking about it a little more, I would go with one of my favorite movies, which is the original Dawn of the Dead, which is...
You would fight zombies every day? You'd run from zombies?
No, this is 4 survivors holed up in a shopping mall, a 70s shopping mall.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you got a Record World, you've got a Walden Books, you've got probably KB Toy Store in there, you've got probably a nice stereo setup. So as long as you got the trucks blocking the mall entrances, you live in this mall, this is vinyl collector heaven.
That is commercialism at its finest. Every store you mentioned is now defunct, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I would go to choose that movie
capsule
to go to the 70s.
Would you take all the Star Wars action figures off the pegs?
I absolutely would. I would hide them somewhere, bury them, and
there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you could relive it, Jim, just think how much better every time you relive it, your carpentry skills would get.
Absolutely.
You would get better at building that false wall.
Yes, I would. And they wouldn't be able to get through it.
Exactly.
When I'm done with it. Yeah. Yeah.
You would find out how to put like a refrigerator door in there so they couldn't get through.
I could be an expert helicopter pilot. I could do target practice off the roof. It would be amazing.
I do have to fess up. I did buy a Blu-ray recently, and I bought Day of the Dead on Blu-ray.
The original Day of the Dead.
The original Day of the Dead.
With Bub.
With Bub.
Mm-hmm.
Show 'em what you can do, Bub. And I love it, man. He salutes the captain.
He salutes him, yeah. And then the captain's being torn apart, and his legs are sliding down the hallway. He's like, choke on him. Choke on him.
Tell me the captain didn't look like Eddie Money.
He totally did.
Did he look like Eddie Money? He looked like a really douchey Eddie Money.
Yeah, completely. And you knew this guy. There's some certain actors that you know are just total scumbags in real life, and you know that this guy is one of them.
You know, Greg Nicotero was in that movie. Greg Nicotero was
really?
Yes, he was one of the soldiers.
He was one of the soldiers. Yeah,
he was the blonde guy with the beard. That was Greg Nicotero. Look at that movie. Yeah, look at Day of the Dead. And I think it was kind of one of the reasons why I bought it, because that was Greg Nicotero's, and I'm a big Nicotero fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love his work, and it was his first film. And I actually loved the movie. I loved all of the Dead series, the original.
Right. All the Romero movies.
Yeah. Yes, the Romero movies were great. I actually was very fortunate. I got a chance to actually step on George Romero one time in New Jersey.
Step on him.
Really?
I was walking backwards because people were telling me, we're going to meet in the parking lot and we're going to go grab some dinner. And I walked backwards and I stepped on someone's foot and I turned around and it was George Romero. Mm-hmm. And I looked and I just, because he and I are very tall, I looked in his big frame glasses and I said, Mr. Romero, I am so very sorry that I stepped on your foot.
You hit my Sarlacc.
And he's like, no, he laughed. He thought it was funny because I think all the coloring went out of my face.
Right.
He's like, you would be a gray zombie.
So, and let me tell you, I've taken 2 or 3 pilgrimages to the Monroeville Mall just outside Pittsburgh as well. I'm such a big fan of Dawn of the Dead. Never seen Romero though, but
Is that mall still functioning? Is it still there?
yes, absolutely, and it still pretty much looks on the inside like it did in that movie. Unfortunately, though, they just closed the JCPenney, which is prominent.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
still exists. We actually we snuck into the back hallway where the false wall was, and that's all there. They filmed it in the mall.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. I got to go.
Yeah. It's
Well,
it's a 6-hour drive. Just be prepared.
Is it really? 6
Yeah.
hours?
6 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Jack's something like,
Yeah, we had to get a hotel. But it was worth
I don't know if I get that one past the Sarlacc.
it.
Jack, just take some pictures off.
It's shopping. You get to go to a mall.
That's true.
Yeah.
The mall.
Yeah. So there we go.
There we go. That was an extra-size episode.
This
right
was
there, my friend.
epic. This was epic.
This is epic.
Sorry, man. I've taken your show in directions that you probably
Jack,
never.
are you kidding me? This has been awesome. This has been fantastic.
It certainly has. It certainly has. I'm at a loss for what to cut, if anything.
Cut. You got. It's terrible, but I want to thank any of your listeners. Check out the Electric Radio Show.
Absolutely.
Yes.
At theelectricradioshow.com. There's a tab there that says listen to ERS, and you can catch our podcast and everything. And for you TMI guys, definitely I'm sending ERS guys your way because this was so much damn fun. Dude,
awesome.
I tell you, we went so far past where I thought we were going to go time-wise.
Yeah, no, we digressed.
But it flew by so fast, and man, I love you guys, and we're definitely going to talk about you, and we want to get listeners your way, and man, I would love to do this again.
Absolutely, you are welcome on the show anytime.
I would do it any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So
awesome.
You guys are.
Well, we need Mike to get a new mic first. So
yeah, man, we gotta get Mike in here, man, because you know what it is. Mike kind of reminds me, if you look at Mike, you ever see Californication? Mike looks like Charlie Runkle right now. He's just sitting there, and you look like the agent, man. I wanted so desperately to hear Mike and chime in.
Yeah, we are only at 2/3 capacity, really.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
we're not firing on all guns today.
And I love your logo, Jeff.
Thank you.
That had to be all Chandler work, man, because your logo
is.
You are a phenomenal artist, and I'm going to go on record on your show. And Jeff did not ask me to say this; he never would, because Jeff is really one of the most humble, nicest guys I've ever met. But Jeff's artwork is off the freaking chain, crazy, phenomenal. And when we did the Electric Radio Show, I asked Jeff, came out of left field, and I said, Jeff, can you do me a favor? Could you possibly turn us into cartoon characters? And Jeff, dude, I don't know how you're not a gazillionaire for your work, but you're to be commended.
Yes, and we are lucky to have him. We are very lucky to have him.
I mean, I think you guys are lucky to have each other, man, because I really dig this show. You guys have a great vibe, and
cool.
And if you could see this, man, Jim has got a pop field behind him. Jeff has got this Star Wars field behind him. And poor Mike is just clamoring for a microphone.
But he does have a bird.
But he's got a bird,
We didn't hear from the bird this week.
But guys, thank you so much. And I don't want to.
No, thank you. Thank you.
I love you guys, man. And if you guys ever need, a fourth, call me up, man. Anytime. I'll do this show.
We would love to. We would love to.
I'll have you on speed dial.
All right, man.
Thank you. Love you as well, man.
All right.
Thanks. Cool.
Sorry. All right, guys.
Guys, you know what? I forgot to hit the record button on that. No, I'm only kidding.
Holy shit.
Every February 2nd, thousands trek to Gobbler's Knob to hear Punxsutawney Phil's prognostication.